With the Federation becoming ever more embroiled in time travel, it's easy to lose sight of the other things accomplished. While we've been jumping all over the place to witness events that eventually erupt into the Temporal War, the alliance between the Klingons, Federation and Romulan governments established during the Iconian Wars continues. In fact, our reports to Admiral Quinn concerning our excursions have made the necessity for a unified front in 2410 even more important, and we've been invited as temporal agents, but as well because of our role in ending the Long War.
The data from the future you've provided has made it clear. We need to form a stronger alliance with the major galactic factions. To that end, we're sending delegates to the First Alliance Summit. This could be the beginning of a new age, and your presence there could ensure the summit's success. Meet our delegation at the embassy on New Romulus.
Turning the Armiger around, we plot a course for New Romulus, the seat of the Romulan Republic, which paved the way for the Alliance by building bridges with both the Federation and Klingon Empire. There is still tension between some of the parties involved, especially between the Klingons and Romulans, but this is kind of why these talks are taking place, to ensure peace. In addition to just the three most major factions, however, there will be delegates from other powers, such as the Kai from Bajor and a Cardassian senator. We approach New Romulus. The last time we were here was during the war, and it was being besieged by heralds. Fortunately, much of the construction work on the planet still remains well underway, and in fact the halls for this historic meeting have been completed. We beam down our party and are greeted by a Starfleet Tellarite liaison. Her red uniform signifies her as part of the security team.
Greetings. It's an honor to finally meet you. Welcome to New Romulus and the First Alliance Summit. The opening ceremonies will begin soon. Until then, please, wait here in the assembly hall.
We can thank her, but noting the 3 bars on her collar, we can remark on someone of her rank undertaking this duty.
You would expect an ensign standing honor guard duty, wouldn't you? Truth is, I volunteered for this detail. Today is a very symbolic day for me. Like the founding of the Coalition of Planets, this summit represents the beginning of a grand alliance. I'm a descendant of the Tellarite who signed the Coalition Accords 255 years ago.
Ambassador Graal, I see.
I wanted to be here to honor my esteemed ancestor and my family. So I made my case to my commanding officer, and he authorized my deployment.
I wonder if Ambassador Graal ever thought about what the Coalition would eventually lead to. And having seen the future, who can say where this alliance will lead? Lieutenant Commander Shavar runs off to continue her other duties, and we're left free to mingle. Okay, best behaviour everyone, no standing on desks. Looking at you, Bizarre. Amid the tall Romanesque-style halls, punctuated by plant-shrouded pillars, serving staff travel handing out Romulan ale to the guests, The groups seem to be standing with their peers at the moment, and within this hall is currently the greatest political cluster in 2 quadrants. On the Federation side, we have Captain of the Enterprise Vakel Shon, Admiral Tenay of Starfleet's Romulan Affairs, Admiral Jorel Quinn, the CNC of Starfleet, and the Federation President himself, Anik Ukeg, a Saurian who managed us through the Iconian War. We'll start by chatting to our friend, Shon.
Well, here we are. It's still a little hard to believe, isn't it? Peace in our time, or so they say in all the media reports. Regardless of the outcome today, the crew of the Enterprise stands ready.
We can simply agree to do our duty, or rather cynically prepare for a fight, as these negotiations may be troublesome. After conversing with Shon, we work our way up the chain to talk to Admiral Tenay.
This summit shall be of historical importance, to be certain. Ambassador Sugihara and President Okeg have a monumental task ahead of them, however. There is a 34.8% chance of a major diplomatic incident occurring during the summit. One that could lead to its complete collapse.
Again, we can hope for the best or prepare for the worst. But if everything went smoothly, then this would all be happening off screen. Tenay seems to be doing rather well after assimilating the memories of her temporal duplicate. 29th century reintegration seems to have worked. Next up is our direct superior, Admiral
Good
Quinn.
to see you. Quite a sight to see, this summit. I can't help but wonder what the role of Starfleet will be once it's complete. Will we return to a role of discovery, or remain on guard, phasers at the ready?
That thought has crossed my mind too. In theory, with an alliance from Kronos and the Republic bolstering our combined defences, we can get back to being Starfleet, but war leaves its marks, like it or not. Battleships are now part of our fleets, and warriors are captains. Greetings, Mr. President. I'm Mark Hale, Admiral Quinn's constant migraine.
It is a pleasure to finally meet you. Your reputation precedes you, of course. Were it not for your efforts, this summit wouldn't be happening. Allow me to thank you for that, on behalf of the United Federation of Planets. We've quite the journey ahead of us, but we'll begin today by taking that important first step.
We have a variety of replies, from responding how one small step can lead to more things. We can give a quote, often ascribed to Thomas Jefferson, about remaining vigilant to ensure freedom, or reiterate the sentiment without the quote, simply saying that we still have enemies out there and that we'd need to watch for them with a unified front. On the Klingon side of things, we have Captains Kargren and Corrin, the 2 frontline commanders of the Iconian War, Corrin being the captain of the KDF flagship and Worf's adopted daughter. We also have Ambassador Sluss, the Gorn representative and Empire ambassador, as well as Chancellor Jampok, the leader of the Empire.
Come on! Today is a momentous occasion for us all. Let us hope that this conference goes better than the one at Khitomer. You have done well to prove that we need this agreement to succeed. Still, it would be naive of us all to assume that this peace will last any longer than the ones that have come before. More likely, we're on the peaceful side of a giant circle, and it is only a matter of time before we find the side of war once more.
History tends to agree, but we can at least make that circle more of an ellipse and have the peace last longer than the war side of things. If your player is allied with a different faction, you actually get more chance to talk with the rest of your colleagues too, but next up is dialogue with the Romulan delegation. Here we have Obasek representing the Riemann interests alongside Proconsul Detan, the first leader of the Republic, and Spock's protege on unification, as well as Captain Jirok of the Lasset, the Republic flagship, as well as Admiral Kerarek, a major anti-Elachi leader, and Sub-Commander Cole, the liaison to the Delta Alliance through the Dyson Spheres. Greetings, Proconsul. Been a while.
Jolan True. Truly, we are witnesses to history. If only my esteemed mentor, Ambassador Spock, had lived to see this day. When reflecting upon this summit, I am reminded of an ancient Terran saying he once taught me. They shall beat their swords into plowshares. Many here today would see that come to pass for us, I think.
So he hopes most here are looking for peace, and I'd agree.
And yet, despite the withdrawal of the Iconians, we have many enemies throughout the void. Many worlds must be rebuilt to survive. It seems we have great need of both swords and plowshares. A strong alliance can secure both of them for us all.
We get some opinions to say here, but they all boil down to the same thing. We can't neglect one objective in favour of another. Maintaining that balance is vital, but not always easy. Next up are what I guess are the mid-Alpha Quadrant powers. We have the Ferengi Grand Nagus himself here, Rom, and his wife Lita. Next to them, enjoying a glass of ale, is just a humble diplomat in Garrick. Next to them is the current Kai of Bajor, Her Eminence Kira. The three seem to be engrossed in conversation as if they all know each other or something, while the Deferi ambassador Sura just looks on in amazement. We also have the Vulcan delegate Tapella, who took over from Soketh after we exposed him over a year ago now.
It is agreeable to see you here. Considering your actions during the Iconian conflict, it is eminently logical for you to be a part of determining the Alliance's path forward.
I guess that makes sense. More opinions, more points of view, yeah? Next up we seize the opportunity to talk to the Ferengi head of state.
While Rule 34 says that war is good for business, I think I've had my fill of it. Still, if what I hear in the wind is true, we're in for a heaping helping of Rule 35.
Hang on. Peace is good for business, right?
Exactly. And here's hoping that business is good. The markets took a beating in the last days of the war.
Well, an alliance opens up all sorts of new trade routes, so here's hoping. It's also worth pointing out that Rom managed to secure the most lucrative deal in Ferenginar history through his connections, that being that all Cardassian-made vessels are sold through the Ferengi. Greetings, Ambassador Sura.
Greetings. We stand upon the threshold of a great venture for all gentle beings in the galaxy. The Deferi, as always, shall strive to seek a state of balance. This may be our greatest challenge yet, but one we cannot forsake.
As a temporal agent, I can't resist a cheeky remark at how I'd rather tip things in my favour, but hey. We can then move over to Councillor Garrick, who we have met several times before in passing.
Greetings! Quite the gathering today, wouldn't you agree? One hopes that, amidst all this splendor, the great powers find it in their hearts to remember the plight of Cardassia.
I'm sure with you here it's a symbol that Cardassian's reconstruction hasn't been forgotten. There are many powers out there that need to rebuild now, and we stand a better chance if we can pool our resources. Finally, we have a chance to talk to Kira, briefly at any rate, the spiritual leader of the Bajorans.
Hello. I've heard this summit is as much about the future of the four quadrants as it is a resolution of the war. I'm happy with finding peace, though. We're all long overdue for peace, prophets willing.
That I completely agree with, and as someone who's been through the dirtiest aspects of war, I think Kai Kira here is one to judge.
The opening ceremonies are about to begin. Ambassador Sugihara will be making an announcement shortly.
May I have your attention? The summit is about to commence. Please join me in the main conference room now. So glad you could make it. I have to admit, you've done what many believed to be impossible, bringing everyone to the table to form a greater galactic alliance. Well done. Now, if you would be so kind, would you mind escorting your leader to the conference room? I can't think of a better honor guard.
All right then. We return to our faction leader, in our case, President Anik Okeg, and inform him that we're ready to get underway.
Is it time? Very well. Let's not keep history waiting. Lead the way.
With that, the assembled dignitaries, leaders, and escorts alike walk down the dressed corridor to the smaller meeting chamber, where the first round of alliance discussions will take place. Here's hoping that they will go as well as the inspiring feeling indicates.
Fellow delegates, honored guests, we stand at a crossroads.
Chancellor, that Romulan poisoned his wine. This is Romulan treachery.
We did no such thing.
Mr. President, look out!
The Nakul assassin drops her disguise and continues to try to hit the Federation president. The security teams are on her in seconds and rejoin the firefight. As she attempts to flee, not favouring her odds, we leap over the table to pursue her. She dives into a side room and turns back to face us, and in the small chamber we engage her, cutting off her escape. It seems whatever weapon she was using has depleted its charge, and she draws a small sword to attempt to attack us, as well as some drones. But clearly things have not gone according to plan for her, and she is trapped here with us. Sit the frack down. Now, it's time to get to the bottom of this. Drock, too, enters the room, seemingly either brave or dumb enough to follow us.
You. Once again, you meddle in the affairs of your betters, alien!
I don't meddle, I win. And you, I know you. Krog, I saw you in a meeting in the 23rd century at Galorndon Core. You brought the planet killer to the Romulan Star Empire. While interrogating her, you can actually get the questions wrong and lock yourself out of the answers. You'll have to restart the mission if you want to do it correctly. We begin by trying to establish what time period she's from.
One that shall be free of your wretched species, I think. And soon!
Being well versed in time travel, we know that this faction is based from the 29th century.
Most astute, alien. Or perhaps a lucky guess? That seems more likely, yes.
Yes, sure, lucky guess. Like it was when I intercepted you at Galorndon Core. Let's try another question. How did you get here?
To this room? A simple matter of putting one foot in front of the other, really. With considerable practice, you may be able to master the technique, although I have my doubts.
How dare you? Using humour to deflect is my thing. Get your own. But suffice to say, you originally looked like a Riemann, so you must have used some futuristic holographic shroud technology of some sort.
A simplified but accurate deduction. You must be so proud.
Yeah, I'm commissioning a statue of myself as we speak. Okay, was it just you or are there others?
One of my people is worth 1,000 of your misbegotten species.
Here we have the tactical insight to deduce that she was just a lone agent. There are other options though, based on other career paths that shortcut to the right answer at different questions. Or if you have a high enough diplomacy rank, you can placate your way through. So, solo operative then, which means this might have even been a suicide mission.
Correct. You are more astute than I gave you credit for, mongrel.
Careful or you'll end up my new chew toy. So, fairly obvious question I think, but where are you from?
Search the skies for a star in the grip of death, and you may find my home.
It's at this point that I couldn't resist being a little bit cheeky, and I picked the option that says, Hobus. It's Hobus, isn't it? Because it's always Hobus. Everything ties back to Hobus. Ha ha ha. And locked myself out of the correct answer, so I restarted the entire mission to get to this point again.
It amuses me to watch you flail about so. 1 star down, trillions to go.
It is, of course, the Nakul star.
Yes, Nakul. Her beautiful radiance will return to the cosmos once more. It is a matter of destiny.
Our discussion is then interrupted by a beam-in from a familiar officer, Captain Walker from the 29th century timeship, the USS Pastak.
Hello. I see you've discovered a temporal anomaly.
Would you like some help? Just then, the Armiger calls in to let us know that a Wells-class timeship has just entered orbit above New Romulus. Yes, Tan. Captain Walker is with us now. Stand by.
We detected a time breach in the 29th century. Strangely, we couldn't track the actual traveler, but we sensed a change in history on this day and time. Seemed like a good idea to investigate it.
Cool, cool. Introductions all round then. Captain Walker, meet Krog, she just tried to assassinate the president.
No doubt an attempt to fatally undo the Alliance summit. Quite the terrorist act. If this summit fails, everything you saw in the future would be disrupted at best. At worst, that future will cease to exist entirely.
Yay, I suppose we're taking another trip to the future then?
Go to the future? If we're certain they are from Nakul, wouldn't a preemptive strike in this time put an end to any of their future ambitions?
Oh, Commander Jirok, yes, of course. So I'm a time agent. Hi, big secret, sorry. But no, targeting the Nakul right now, not a good idea.
That's correct. The safest course of action is to stop the incursion at its point of origin, the 29th century Nakul system. Time is of the essence. We'll need to leave soon. May I suggest turning over your prisoner to Commander Jirok before we depart?
See, Walker, I can learn. But yes, Commander, could you take care of this prisoner? I owe you one. I've got to go sort this out.
I'll be happy to acquaint Specialist Krog with the interior of a high-security Romulan holding cell. Good hunting.
Thanks, Commander. Just be sure to search her thoroughly. Whatever tech she had was missed by our era's scanners, so no telling what other tricks she might have. With that established, Jirok escorts the failed assassin to her new cell and leaves this mess to us. We return to the Armiger in orbit to journey to the 29th century.
All hands, brace for temporal shift. Now!
When we arrive in the 29th century Nakul system, Temet is immediately fascinated by something she's noticed. She points out how the system's main star, over 400 years later, still has not shown any further signs of degradation, despite it being affected by the Toxutat in our time.
I take it you're seeing the same thing we are. While the Nakul star was ruined by the Toxutat in your time, the fact that it's not a black hole is quite the mystery.
Reports of its death seem to have been grossly exaggerated. Sorry, I don't know what Mark Twain has to do with time travel in Star Trek.
Quite so. We're also reading a massive structure of unknown origin near the star. It's a day for enigmas, it seems.
Yes, my senses of seeing that too. The ones in my face, called eyes. Sitting safely from back here, we instigate long-range scans.
Strange. This system hasn't been inhabited for decades. What are the Nakul up to?
The time ship Pastak forms in behind us as we close in to do further scans.
Unknown vessels, you have violated Nakul space. You shall pay with your lives.
Despite holding fire and attempting to hail them, the three Nakul intercepting ships attack us. These are Tadari frigates, which aside from a small cloaking device, don't really have that much firepower behind them, not like their Deimosh battleships.
Most of the Nakul are law-abiding, but the radical elements have been a thorn in our side for some time.
Well, looks like that thorn's getting sharper, Captain.
You shall pay for your crimes, alien filth!
Oh, I miss the Lucari, they were nice.
This is starting to come together. General Vosk is the leader of a radical element within the Nakul. We've been looking for him for some time.
General Vosk. Okay, he sounds like another person we'll have to deal with. Oh, we're detecting more inbound ships.
Acknowledged. Sensors indicate she's of Nakul registry. The NV Destiny.
We close in on the Destiny to talk with this Vosk, who, spoilers, is the same Nakul leader we see in Star Trek Enterprise.
I am General Vosk of the Nakul. I do not recognize your vessel, and your face is new to me. Identify yourself, if you please.
Greetings, my name is Admiral Mark Anderson Hale of the USS Armiger. I regret to inform you that one of your people is...
Be silent! The goals of a primitive aboard a garbage scow matter little to me. Leave Nakul at once, or you will be destroyed.
You asked me who I was, you prick. Close channel, red alert. The battle against the Destiny is a very tough one. It's not so much the weapon that fires a massive conal plasma barrage that is the damaging thing. I mean, it is, but it's avoidable if you're fast enough. But it's the plasma torpedo that creates a large area of shield-sapping gas that tears through the Armiger's defences. Suffice to say, I died a lot before we managed to disable the vessel.
Bad news. I'm reading multiple Nakul warp signatures inbound to our location. We'll maintain overwatch as long as we can. Go get Vosk!
Our plan is to now beam over to the Destiny and capture Vosk, ending his interference in this timeline. We're able to beam straight into a room adjacent to his bridge. These strange red layers and glowing bits of this vessel give an organic feel, sort of reminding me of the insides of like exotic flowers. There's an information hub in front of us that we make a note to rummage through if we get the time, but of course Vosk has something to say about all this.
I admire your tenacity, but your struggle is truly in vain. Soon the Nakul will stand first above all. Your kind will be but a memory, replaced by the glory of Nakul!
Not cool, General Vosk. The battle inside the Destiny is almost as trying as the combat we just took part in among the stars. He has the ability to create an invulnerable shield for a time, as well as a powerful sniper that can rip through shielding. It glances Hale at one point and downs him, and the whole skirmish sees repeated triage for my officers. Eventually, though, his security teams are depleted, and we can take our time whittling down his health.
General Vosk, the portal is ready.
All hands, begin temporal shunt for Nakul, for Destiny.
Come with us, sir. It's time.
Very well. Computer, initiate self-destruct sequence. Now!
Before we can think about our next moves, we have to take out the remaining security that just appeared to evacuate their general.
We need to get this situation under control, and fast! I'm beaming over to join your efforts.
Cool, thanks man. Could have used you a little earlier.
I'd prefer keeping the Destiny in one piece. Her temporal tech alone is well worth saving. Cover me while I try to shut down the self-destruct sequence. Be prepared. The Nakul won't go down easy. Incoming enemies! Hold the line!
The next few minutes consist of holding choke points against Nakul's security teams that try to board the bridge, as Walker attempts to access the ship's systems and wrest what control he can from its former crew.
Damn! They've hard-locked the self-destruct. I'm going to try to bypass the lock. Cover me. Adaptive security. Looks like they've learned a trick or two from the Borg. Let's download what data we can and leave. Multiple Nakul life signs detected. Clever devils. They started using a full data purge. Think I could stall that for a while.
Walker, I think we should just grab what we can and bail. I don't think we've got much time left.
Need a little more time here. Cover me! I've unlocked one of the last data nodes. Better have a look.
With the bridge secured at last, we can talk to Walker before getting the hell out of here.
It's grim. Destiny is about to explode and the Nakul are on the verge of a major military operation. I'll return to Pasta, call for reinforcements, and hold the line.
Understood, but did we learn anything?
I managed to bypass the security protocols on the main console. Grab any critical data you can and beam out before Destiny explodes.
Okay, go ahead and beam out. We'll be right behind you. Thanks to Walker's efforts, slow though they were, we do now at least have access to a sizable amount of data from this Nakul console, which we make a copy of before beaming ourselves out of here.
don't shut down the Nakul portal quickly, we'll be facing a full-scale temporal assault. Reinforcements are on the way, both for us and the Nakul. Buckle up. Things are about to get rough.
We are now faced with an approaching Nakul armada, but we're not their primary target. Instead, they're all heading to this portal they've just opened. This is a one-way mission they're undertaking, to travel back into the past to disrupt the formation of the Federation, thus the Alliance, and therefore the Temporal Accords. We have a bonus objective in this mission to prevent any more ships from entering the portal, which is easier said than done. There's a lot.
I'm picking up many more Nakul ships inbound. Holding them back will be, challenging. This situation is escalating. We must destroy their temporal facility before any other ships travel through.
Agreed. I'll make it the primary target, unless anything else more damaging shows up. Just then, however, reinforcements from the 29th century Starfleet also arrive.
Captain Sirius of the USS Hale. We stand ready to assist. Triumph the path and clear the portal for Nakul!
Many ships do slip by our perimeter, but more Starfleet reinforcements arrive.
Captain Bucket, USS Tip. How may we be of service?
Every Nakul here will be avenged, aliens. Every one!
The battle escalates further when the Nakul ship Golden Shield enters the fray. It seems to be the Nakul's ship dispatched precisely to deal with us, and as an Archeron battleship it is up to the task. It has all the abilities of the Destiny, and as such makes her a troubling opponent. All sorts of plasma manipulation and the ability to evade sensors, raise powerful shields, and create a sensor ghost all culminate to make this a fight that we have to pull away from several times in order to recoup and repair. Eventually, however, the 29th century Starfleet vessels manage to take it down, which leaves us to take down their time-travelling station.
The portal, but our glorious crusade goes on. For Nakul! For destiny!
Well, that could have gone better. Still, with that data you downloaded and a little luck, we might be able to find the Nakul vessels that made it through the portal. Hopefully before they can do any serious damage to the time stream.
Eventually they'll change something and we'll be able to locate them. It's not over yet.
Your confidence is reassuring. Let's get you back to... Wait, we just registered a new historical record. It appears that General Vosk has been found and dealt with in the distant past by Captain Jonathan Archer.
Huh. So, 22nd century Captain... Okay, yeah, you know what, we softened him up. Yep. We loosened that lid and then Archer just popped it right off. That's... Can I go home?
Indeed. We've got our work cut out for us. I suspect we'll have to recruit more temporal agents to deal with incursions of this magnitude. Regardless, thank you for all your help today. Let me know when you're ready to return to your time.
So, the Nakul from here attempted to alter the past in several time frames, all in the aim to take down the Federation and thereby undo all the devastation that time travel wrought. From their point of view, yes, I can see why they would go about doing this sort of thing, but equally any changes they make are going to have ripple effects just as ours did, and they'd be no better off. Someone would always end up on the short straw of this sort of mess. It sucks that it's the Nakul, honestly, but that's why the Temporal Accords then came into effect, to prevent things like this from happening again. And then you get the emergence of people like General Vosk, who just go right off the deep end and make one-way trips into the past to alter history forever. Fortunately, it seems Agent Daniels and the 31st Century Time Agency managed to correct that with the help of Jonathan Archer.
Welcome back. I've asked Temporal Investigations to see what can be done about the Nakul incursions. You'll be happy to know that the summit is still on, though it took Sujihara quite a bit of maneuvering to get the Klingons back to the table. Commander Shavah's sacrifice was not in vain. May she rest in peace.
I should probably also mention that Chancellor Junpok also survives his assassination attempt. After all, he was just the distraction for Krog to get at Okeg. But with another temporal incursion sort of averted, the timeline continues, more or less, as do our adventures into the ever-expanding storyline of Star Trek Online. Yeah, twisted it to see what anyway, thanks for watching this episode, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to explore it. Until then, I've been Rick, thanks again, and goodbye.